We're talking about that elite level of security. No.
His budget for his security is larger than Secret Service budget for the President of the United States.
I don't know what that budget looks like, but it sounds like a lot more money than I have.
Yeah.
They don't call them panic rooms anymore.
Why?
Well, they call them Serenity Rooms. All right? You don't want to live in a fortress.
You can almost say like the best security is invisible security.
So it doesn't tear out of the yard and,
Right.
and go attack a neighbor.
The first thing you got to think about is how to secure that door. And there was Bill Gates. All right, where is his security?
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's James Kerr, the owner of Boss Security Screens.
And MJ Johnston.
Retired captain, Henderson Police Department. You've been watching and following our segments. I think you know who we are. But we are in the security business, and we're here to share our knowledge and our experience with you. So today, we're going to talk about our favorite topic.
Blank check.
Blank check, unlimited security, no budget limit.
Let's do it.
All right, all right. So we're talking about the kind of level that only the rich and famous can attain. We're talking about that elite level of security that if you have all the money, all the wish list stuff that you could dream of, that's what we're going to talk about today. So in terms of elite security systems, what comes to mind for you?
A client I just spoke with the other day, he's in the middle of the desert, has 1,000 acres. And if you're listening out there, I won't divulge any more secrets, but he's got 6 of these highly trained, I don't know what he called them, border patrol dogs. You'd know better than I, but each one's $20,000. And he's got 6 of them, and he rotates them out. 2 go out, 4 stay in. 2 go out, 2 come in, right? And then he's got these drones, these automated drones that fly around his property. And when they're running low on battery, they come down, recharge, and the other one goes up.
Yes.
And he's got something underground. I don't know what it is, but you begin to get the sense, and he's getting security screens, right? You begin to get the sense of that kind of person that really has an unlimited budget. They have some kind of security concern. It could be kind of like a prepper type thing, right? Where they're just concerned about the whole country falling apart. Or it could be that they're actually the target of some kind of, criminal activity. But let's get into it. And Elon Musk, I heard his security detail. Have you heard about this?
No.
His budget for his security is larger than Secret Service budget for the President of the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know what that budget is.
I don't know what that budget looks like, but it sounds like a lot more money than I have.
If you gotta spend money to stay safe, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the downside of being in the public and being contentious, right? Is you really gotta spend a lot of money to stay safe. So let's start thinking about, if we had all the money in the world, what would we do?
Okay, so there's really 3 components to that, right? So now you're gonna have those really high-level physical barriers that will come into it. Then you're going to have the, the technology, electronic layers that are going to be there, and then you can't get away from the human element. Okay, so that's going to be
the
bodyguards, right?
In the chain.
So you want to have that high-level security. It's going to really involve all of this. So I'm going to talk to you just briefly about a company. It's called SAFE, Strategically Armored and Fortified Environments. Okay, right? So now that's a fancy term.
It's a nice acronym.
Yeah, it's a really nice acronym. But that's a fancy term for these panic rooms. But at the highest levels, they don't call them panic rooms anymore.
Why?
They call them Serenity Rooms. Because when you look at these houses, these high-end, super tech, AI-driven, they are nicer than most homes.
Oh, so it's not one of these rooms that are tucked away in a closet
somewhere. It's not a room.
Somewhere.
It's really like a second house.
It's part of where they live. That then, becomes even safer than safe.
And they're not, this is a no holds barred type setup. Right. I mean, they have unlimited amounts of fresh water. They've got food storage. They've got ventilation systems. They've got the AI-driven home automation. So, I mean, it's almost like a command center.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are some of them that went as far as having other physical barriers, like, I hate to say this, it sounds like a moat, right? But they put water systems in that would prevent people from coming in. So when you look at the way some of these are built, if you go out and check on some of these high-end Serenity Rooms or panic rooms, the sky's really the limit when you have enough money that you can throw at these things. And then it really doesn't come across as security. That's really the goal for every security function, even if you're in the $1,000 budget. What you're trying to do is make it seamless in your life. All right? You don't want to live in a fortress. You don't want to feel like you're in some kind of fort, but you want to have all those layers of security there. So these new modern Serenity rooms are just amazing, and most certainly nicer than most houses. So pretty impressive when you actually look at them.
Wow.
But when you also talked about dogs. I mean, that's part of that third layer. You got the human component. Now you have some of the canines involved. You talked about drones. There is so much out there. How about the bollards? Now a lot of these high-end homes, they have the bollards that actually come up out of the ground as a barrier. So they can hit a button and these things will pop up as part of detection systems
to keep vehicles from
coming in. Ramming through a gate or coming in through the home. But they're invisible because they retract into the ground, and they're not deployed until you need them.
Yeah, you can almost say like the best security is invisible security.
And that is a true statement, and that's an excellent point, because you don't want to tip off all of your security systems that you have, but you want to make sure, again, that if they are invisible, they're also seamless and they're just part of your life. So you don't have to feel like you're trying to barricade yourself in your own home.
A couple of decades ago, here in Las Vegas, it was called Computer Electronics Show at the time, or Comdex or something. And there was a private party. And in this private party, there were about 100 people. And my friend and I, we were in college at the time, that's how long ago it was, we crashed it. We got in.
Okay.
And in the center of that floor, it was like a cocktail party, people drinking wine or whatever. It wasn't crazy. They were all invited people, founders of Yahoo or whatever. And there was Bill Gates standing by himself right there in the middle of the floor.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I thought, all right, where is his security, right? It's got to be here somewhere, right? So it's to your point, the security, the more we can make it invisible, the less it gets in the way of what we need to do, the more frictionless it is, but still effective. For sure, his security was there, right? We managed to go up to him and say hi to him. I don't remember what we said, right? But I'm sure his security was there.
Sure, absolutely.
Although we got in. There's a problem. We got in.
Well, I want to talk here a little bit about some of the AI-powered detection that you had mentioned. Drones, those are all automatically flown now. I mean, you can set some parameters. They'll go up without being operated by a particular individual. So the power of AI is changing the security world. And it's not just for the elite owners.
They're
of these
accessible
systems.
to many people,
AI power is coming to everyone. And having that ability, I mean, just even your basic cameras that you would put in your home have AI-driven power where they can distinguish between a human, between an animal. They can do geofencing.
And recognize a face.
They can do facial recognition, license plate reading. So all of that AI power is really going to change the game for every consumer that deals with security. What you need to do is educate yourself about what's out there.
What's available.
Because if you're not staying up on some of the trends and you're not talking to a security professional that knows what these trends are, you might be missing something that would be beneficial for your own home that's also affordable.
What about some shows that are coming up? Let's say some consumers can go to these security shows and kind of see some of the new bells and whistles that are out there. I think there's one here in Vegas too, but I'm sure every city's got something going on.
Every city's got a conference of something or similar to that. But yeah, we have a technologies conference coming up here. I think it's at the beginning of April, in fact. And they're going to be unleashing all of the new technologies. I did go to it last year. I think it's ISC West, if I've got the acronym correct. it unveils and unleashes all of the newest technologies. And in last year's event, the advancements in the AI portion of security was what was truly, truly amazing. Let's go back to those dogs.
Yeah. The robotic ones?
Yeah, well, robotic. I've actually seen those. Those are great. I love what they can do. No, I mean, taking a lot of people think about dogs, and there's certain breeds that are just really good.
And you were in the canine.
I did have a canine. Unfortunately, mine wasn't an attack style dog. Mine was a narcotics dog. But you know, they use you know, like Dobermans, German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois. Those are all great breeds to train for security work. But you also want to make sure that you're not just putting a dog out there, because you need to make sure the dog is properly trained in the security function, and you need to reinforce that training. It's like everything. If you just buy it and put it out there, it's not going to be as effective. So these high-end dogs, you said $20,000 a dog.
6 of them.
Okay, well, $20,000 a dog is a huge investment that you need to continually maintain, right? You got to continually reinforce. And then when you go with a dog, you're also taking on some liability. So make sure you got proper posting, make sure that that dog understands what territory it's responsible for, so it doesn't tear out of the yard and go attack a neighbor. Because again, that is a tool that you've deployed, and you take ownership and liability of that tool. But dogs are an amazing tool, but like anything, they can be compromised. You know, they can bring treats, they can bring food. You know, a lot of bad guys may even bring a weapon to neutralize an animal. So when you think about all of your security, a dog, while great, is not the ultimate layer of security. It's just one component.
That's right.
Let's talk about some advanced materials and technologies, and I'm going to kind of throw this over to you because you know a lot about these things. The window filming, the quality of the screens that you build, that technology of those materials. How has that changed the game?
Well, doors used to be a lot easier to get into, right? And you mentioned in some of your other videos on how to fortify those doors, and you should absolutely positively do that. Security doors is a winner. You had also mentioned like 1 in 3 break-ins comes through a door, right? So that's the first thing you got to think about is how to secure that door. We do security film. The film itself was originally developed for blast mitigation. So people are setting off car bombs and glass flying in, it's maiming people inside. And that technology over the years has been getting better and better. It's fairly mature though, which means you can get a lot of bang for the buck, excuse the pun. But that security film works real well. And if you're looking for the best, it's a 14 mil thickness. There's less thickness, which comes in a tint. But 14 mil is about as thick as you're gonna be able to get. You can do it in layers. There's some materials out now that go in between the film and the glass to strengthen the glass itself. And one that we use is called C-Bond, C as in Charlie, B-O-N-D. You can find them online. A glass surface really is a surface, but it has a lot of micro abrasions. It has a lot of cracks and crannies, and those are the stress points. And so this C-Bond is meant to fill those areas and give a super strong surface to mount that film on. So between the C-Bond, which strengthens the glass itself, and we've done the testing. We've taken a light bulb with no C-Bond and drop it from a certain height, see what height it shatters. And then we coat the same light bulb with C-Bond and drop it from higher and higher distances, and it just bounces off.
It just bounces.
It's because,
that's amazing.
That material has strengthened the glass. So you start with the C-Bond. You've got the 14 mil clear, in this case, security film. But once that pane becomes super strong, if someone on the outside is trying to bang into it, trying to get through it, the place it begins to separate is where the glass meets the frame of the window.
Yes.
And if that is not properly anchored, then the risk is that the pane stays in one piece, but it separates where it meets the frame, and it just comes caving in. And we see that all the time where you get these tint guys that are doing security film, and it's a totally different process.
Right.
Tint is not tint is not tint is not tint. If you want security film, just get a company that focuses solely on security film, because they will know how to anchor it properly, and that's super important. The last thing you want to do is spend all this money, right?
Right.
And someone just kicks that glass pane. The glass stays together because they put the film on there, but it caves in because it wasn't properly anchored. So those are some of the things to think about for the security film. For the mesh and the screens in general, you know, I'm a strong advocate for the 12 by 12.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's just a matter of physics, right? What's going to work, what's going to keep things out. And it really is that 12 by 12 per square inch mesh. In an earlier video, we talked about good, better, best. And when it comes to security, there are people who need top tier security, and then there are people who, they're like you. Well, I'm not like you. I'm pretty normal. I don't know about this guy, right? But maybe he has a higher threat level than I do, right? Because he's dealing with bad characters and all these things. I'm just that guy who's never had a speeding ticket, right? Maybe once.
Maybe once.
You know, everyone's got different threat levels. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to security screens, you want to be sure, or any security solution, you want to be sure to get the one that fits for you.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because everybody's needs are different. And that's part of a risk analysis. And professionally, that's something that I do.
And
I go out,
do, yeah.
I look at businesses, right. I look at homes, or you know, the private residences. And I look at the vulnerabilities, we look at the threat levels that they're facing, and then we do that analysis. And then once the analysis is done, then we can make recommendations.
Right.
So again, that goes kind of back to that audit concept. We audit the systems we have, but we also do a threat and risk analysis to make sure that we have the right tools in place to meet the security needs that you have. So the vast majority of us, we're not the rich and famous.
We're just boring.
We're not celebrities. So don't be discouraged in thinking that you can't find something that is actually your ultimate security system, because you can build a very nice, effective security system.
And you've shared with
at a
us
budget.
Just changing the length of the screws on these door strike plates make a huge difference in the strength of that door, right? So there's a lot that people can do just to kind of get going. They don't have to have that blank check thing that we're talking about today with Serenity Rooms. Just start where you can start, really. Is
exactly.
That
the important thing is getting started.
Getting started.
So.
Because we don't want to be, right, the case where no one's given any thought to their security, and now something happens, which was unexpected. Or maybe it was expected and they still didn't take action, right?
Right.
And now it's shoulda, woulda, coulda, right?
Exactly.
Where they didn't take the action. In one other film we're talking about, look, just get started, right? Doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect. Even the whole, like, what are we gonna do when we die, right? How are we gonna ensure the safety? Just get started, you know.
That is the key to everything. So we're gonna wrap this up. Just remember that Boss Security Screens is always here as a resource.
And MJ.
And we are here to help answer questions, to educate.
Right.
It's not always about the screens, although we love the screens and we know they work.
Right.
But we are all about making sure that you, the individual that are out there with the thoughts in your head about what do I do, how do I go about it, you can always reach out to Boss Security Screens. Come talk to us and we'll be happy to help you out.
Make smarter decisions about security. So we're going to do our close right now?
Yeah, we're going to do our new close.
All right, you go first.
We got that? All right, thanks for joining us,
I thought you were going to hit the other side there.